Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to add the update profile feature where you can update this specific data set like name, email, and password. So let's go ahead and do that. But the first thing you need to do is we need to create the API first. So let's go to our server folder. Scroll down and go to server folder, which is routes, and then you want to go to auth.js. And we have to create a new API to update our current users data set. So let's go and do that. And now underneath this profile route, you want to copy. You don't have to copy actually. And you can type router put of user, then verify token, and then async request and response. And then here is we want to do try and catch. And then you want to copy this rest.status 500 and paste it in the catch block if we want to catch any error. And then after that, we want to find the user. So let found user equals to await user.find1, and then we want to pass in the ID, and then the request.decoded._ID. So if we, let's say we found a user, and then we want to update our current users data set. So we want to change the way we update our users data. So before this, when we update our product, for example, if you go to product.js, and this is how we update it. This is one way to update, and there's another way to do it, which is, let me show you how. So the first thing we need to do is we want to check our request.body. So request.body.name. We want to check if it's undefined, if there's a data. If there's a data, then we want to found user.name. Again, if request.body.name is not undefined, then we want to set our found user.name equals to request.body.name. So you're gonna do the rest for email as well, and then this will be email, and this will be email as well. And then last but not least will be our password. So password found user.password, and this would be password as well. And then finally, we want to save our found user, and then we want to response back with success true and message successfully updated. So we need to fix this to off. Okay, so we're gonna add a note here which will say update a profile. So what's going on here is, first we set the put request because we want to update the users, and then we send in the URL, and then as usual the middleware to check the token, and then the callback, which is request and response, and then try and catch. We want to find a specific user by supplying it the token. And let's say if we found a user, then we want to check if the request.body.name.email and .password is available, then you want to set it. But if it's undefined and so on, then we don't want to set anything to our current users data set. And then finally, you want to save the user and then response back to the client. And in catch block, it simply says that if there's an error, then simply responds with success false and error message back to the client. So now we are ready to use this API. So let's copy this API, and then let's go to our profile.view in clients folder, scroll down, and in here you want to do methods, and then as usual you want to type async on update profile, and then here try and catch, and then here console.log the error, and then in try you want to check if response equals to await this.axios put, and then you want to change back to API and then paste it here. And obviously we have to pass in the data set, so we're just gonna put data. So above try we do let data equals to, and then name will be this.name, and then email to this.email, And then lastly would be password, this dot password. And then you want to add another data here, which will be password. And then we have to set our data. Okay, we already set to model. I think I forgot to add the data here. And obviously we have to do a Axios call so that we can update the user's current data set to a new data set, which is this part. And then after that we have to do if, and we have to check the response dot success. If it is successful, if it is true, then we want to do this dot name equals to empty, this dot email equals to empty, and this dot password will be empty as well. So if you go to Chrome, so when a user enter a data, we want to remove this back so that it will be an empty back again. It will just show the placeholder instead. By default, Axios will have the header, which is the token, attached to it every time we do a request. So we don't have to set any header to our Axios call. So by default, when we call this API, it will attach the header, which is the token, to our Axios. And finally, we have to refetch the user's data so we can update the current data with the new one in the database. For example, like if we call this API, our user's data will be changed. We're gonna have the new set of data, but how are we going to map the data back to Jordan and email? Let's say we change this to a different email. If we click update profile, it will just reflect it in database, but on front end, it won't be reflected. So how do we fix that? Auth library has a really good function. You type await this of dot fetch user. So what is going on here is very simple. It will just refetch the API back. That's it. That's all it is. There's nothing special about it. It's just refetch the API. When we run this, it will just refetch the auth user's API. Simple as that. So save this and let's go to our Chrome and let's change this to Mike. And if you click update, it will change hello Mike and then to Mike. So now if you refresh, our data set is now no longer Jordan, but it is Mike. So if you change this to mike@gmail.com, and if you update, same thing, mike@gmail.com, and then there we have it. If we go to our view and check the state, and let's go to our here, refresh this, and there we have it. It changes back to Mike and the email mike@gmail.com. So we have successfully added the update feature for our profile page. In the next video, we will add the implementation where we can log out as a user. I'll see you guys.